it is time to set the mood and get romantic. All right, here's the deal. You got a date and you cannot afford to screw it up. Maybe it's a new hottie that you're really into, or maybe it's your ride or die, your special someone, your spouse or significant other that has been with you forever, and you have a special occasion and you really want to treat them to a nice romantic atmosphere and just a good date night. Well, have no fear, because I'm going to give you my favorite date night restaurants in the Denver area. These are, as usual, not from any list. These are all places I've been to, and in my experience, give the best date night atmosphere in Denver. Now, I've done plenty of videos about just my favorite restaurants in general, favorite bars, all those sorts of things. I'm not just going to reiterate those, because obviously some of those restaurants are great for date nights as well. Is Sushi Den a great date night spot? Yeah, absolutely, but I'm not going to repeat it here. These are restaurants that really have that romantic atmosphere, intimate vibe, something that is gonna make a night feel special. I got 7 of them, and I'm gonna give them to you after this super quick intro. Real quick, just in case you don't know, Sam Newman, Denver real estate agent. Is my goal to be your go-to guy for anything real estate in the Denver metro or even the state of Colorado. Please do reach out. I have people reaching out all the time from this channel, and it is absolutely my favorite thing. My contact info will be everywhere. Number 1, Restaurant Olivia. Restaurant Olivia is a small place right on Downing in the Wash Park area. It's an Italian restaurant that has that upscale yet down-home Italian feel. It is small, so it's intimate. I don't know how many tables there are in there, but it's not that many. Make a reservation for sure. But if you make a reservation, get in there for a date night, the ambiance, the food, the service, everything, you're not going to be disappointed. It is homemade, handmade pasta, so that's kind of the star of the show. I do recommend the octopus too, if you're an octopus person, if you can stomach that type of thing, and I personally can. Their grilled octopus is phenomenal. If it bothers you how intelligent octopus are and you don't want to eat them, then just skip it. But really, the pasta is the star of the show here. So aside from the octopus, that's where I'd push you. Any of their pasta dishes are just absolutely fantastic. When a restaurant does their own pasta like this, rather than just the run-of-the-mill pastas, you can feel, you can taste, you can smell, you can experience a big difference. Their menu does change often, so it's going to be one of those places where they're going to have a seasonal menu. It's going to be an intimate vibe. It really straddles the line between fancy and cozy. So if that's what you're looking for, Restaurant Olivia, great spot. Your date will be impressed. Number 2, Nocturn Jazz and Supper Club. Nocturn, it is a jazz club, so this is going to be one of the more unique places on the list. Jazz clubs, in my experience, really separate the wheat from the chaff. You'll get an idea who someone is by how they react to you taking them to a jazz club. So if that's what you're looking to avoid, Nocturn, not going to be the spot for you for this particular date. But if it's a situation where you want to know if you can really have a good time with this person, if this is someone who's going to be down to have fun, slightly out of the box experiences, if it's someone who has the maturity level to conduct themselves like an adult at a jazz club and won't be like, oh, this is weird, and instead be like, yes, this music doesn't make sense, but this is cool, Nocturne is the place to go. Awesome vibe. Awesome bar. It's got a big, long bar, great bartenders, great drinks, and really, really good food. Kind of classic, upscale American type of food, but it's really about dinner and the show. Right there in Rhino, so it's a trendy area. Parking's tough, so I'd take an Uber. But yeah, go get dinner, enjoy a show, listen to some jazz, and find out who you and your significant other really are. Number 3, Shanahans. Only steakhouse on the list, and the only steakhouse in the Denver area I think that is really requisite of a great date night. Here's my thing about steakhouses. Steak is one of my favorite foods, maybe my favorite food, but it's also one of the things that you can make at home easier than many of these things that will be served at these restaurants in general. Meat, heat, butter, salt, and pepper. It's not that complicated. So if I'm going to go out to a steakhouse, I want to make sure it's an absolutely phenomenal experience, especially since you're going to be paying a lot of money. A lot of steakhouses I've been to don't meet those criteria, and I wind up saying, okay, that was good, but I could have just made something about as good at home. Shanahans knocks it out of the park. It's down south of town in the DTC area, so If you don't want to drive down there, I get it. But if you're on the south end of town or you just don't mind a little jaunt down 25, it's not too far out. Shanahans is one of the places that I think you should feel comfortable paying a premium for a good steakhouse experience. It is classic steakhouse vibe, white tablecloth, candles, servers who are respectful. They're wearing the nice dress shirts. It is a classic date vibe. Big, beautiful bar in the middle, big round bar. Go there while you're waiting for your table, have a drink, then let them take you to the dining room and dine one-on-one with your significant other. I recommend the 10-ounce filet, or if you're going for volume, the Kansas City strip. They do have Wagyu, but I say personally, don't worry about the Wagyu. It's a little bit of a gimmick, in my opinion. Maybe that's a hot take, but super fatty. Listen, I can cut you off a chunk of fat and say, here, that'll be $200. Go for the classic dry-aged steaks. They are delicious on their own. You get the steakhouse sides, you get a classic martini, you get the whole deal. You get a nice dinner and a nice memory. Shanahans lives up to the name. Number 4, one of the more lesser known places on this list, and maybe in Denver dining altogether. I actually didn't know about this place till I got a gift card to it by a friend of mine. Thank you, Anna, just a few years ago. The Plymouth. The Plymouth is in Skyland, and it is super small, super cozy, super fun. Not white tablecloth, not candles, not that type of romantic date night. More like farm to table. I don't even know what that means, but like seasonal, rotating menu, very local. You feel like there's human beings there making your food. Delicious. The menu changes all the time. I believe it's in a converted old house, so it's a really cool, intimate, kind of different style of date night. So if your date would be into that, if they want the classic, straightforward restaurant fancy feel, don't go here, go to Shanahans. But if they like something a little different, maybe a little weird, not too weird, but just a little weird, Plymouth is a great one. Just take a look at their menu. I mean, it's all kinds of beets and meat and rabbit and I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but it is delicious. And one of the cooler, more unique experiences on this list and in Denver dining. If you take someone to the Plymouth, you look like someone who knows your way around town. Number 5, Anet. Anet scratched a table. So Anet is in the Stanley Marketplace in Aurora, actually. And you're like, what's the Stanley Marketplace? Food hall? Fine dining? Date night in a food hall? Yes, very fine dining, in fact. When Michelin came to Colorado, many people thought Anet was snubbed and they should have gotten a Michelin star. Now, the only reason, or at least the reason we know that they didn't or weren't even considered, is because Aurora wasn't one of the towns involved in the Michelin star thing. So Anet wasn't even considered, unfortunately. But their food, their experience is that good. I have 2 pieces of advice for you when going to Anet. Number 1, sit inside. Even if it's a beautiful night out, you don't want to be on their patio because their dining room is very beautiful, very thoughtful, very intentional. Great date night vibe. The patio is kind of looking into the parking lot of Stanley Marketplace. So it is kind of a weird location for a place like this to be. As long as you're inside, you feel like you're in a fine dining experience. If you go to the patio, it feels a little different, and I don't think it's a vibe requisite of date night. And second recommendation, just get the small plates. Like, don't worry about entrees or going big. Just get a bunch of small plates. Even if you got a big appetite, listen, I got a big appetite. Order small plates and share them. They are just awesome. Experiment. Let the culinary minds of Anet be your guide through this dinner. Don't think too hard. Just order a bunch of small plates, order whatever cocktail looks good to you, and enjoy a truly fantastic meal. Number 6, Brew House. Brew House, I just love this place. It's downtown. It's in the old Euclid Hall, if you know where that is, kind of right around the corner from Larimer Square. Some people say it's in Larimer Square, right there. And it is awesome Asian dim sum style dining. Bao is kind of divided into 2 levels. So the main level is the tap room, but for date night, what you want to do is make a reservation upstairs in the tea room. Tea room, super unique vibe. It's all dimly lit with red light. Tables are close together. It's very intimate. Music is a little loud, little clubby for my taste, but again, I am getting old, but it's not too much. I still, even being an old person, enjoy my time in the tea room in Brew House, and the food is just fantastic. If you like dumplings, you like any sort of dim sum style, you're gonna love Brew House. You're gonna love the tea room. So is your date. My advice, get the pork long bao. Awesome. And then there's another one I don't know how to pronounce. I think it's like char sui bao, S-U-I, bao buns. Those are the big buns. Those are the big like puffy pillow type things. I don't know. I love those. I think it's such an indulgence, and it's awesome. Brew House, tea room, date night. You're going to love it. Before I get to the last one on the list, by the way, at the end, I'm going to tell you about just a handful of places you may have expected that didn't actually make it onto this list, and I'm going to explain why I didn't put them on here. So stick around for that. But number 7 on the list, North Italia, or affectionately just known as North in Cherry Creek. So North isn't local. I believe it's a national chain. There's not a ton of them, but there's enough of them. Usually I don't include too many chains on these lists just because, who cares? It's not that interesting. I think the interesting places are the ones that are unique to Denver. But the thing about North is it doesn't feel like a chain at all. It feels like it could have been the first one of these restaurants, and it's just so well done in every facet. Food, atmosphere, service, location, all that stuff. It's impossible to go wrong at North Italia. If you want a date night that you cannot screw up and that virtually every person, I think, is going to enjoy, this is where to go. It's in Cherry Creek, so it's nice. The service is fantastic. They act like they've been waiting for you to come in. They act very happy. It's wild. And all the food's amazing. The pizzas are probably my favorite, but it's Italian classics, upscale Italian. A nice glass of wine, a thin crust pizza, Italian style, with some nice, delicious pasta. I don't know how you can go wrong. You go to North, chances are you're getting some. What? Who? What? Who said that? Moving on. Okay, as promised, real quick, I want to address 3 in particular that did not make this list. Places that were on my radar and are often considered great date night spots, but for me, just don't quite do it for one reason or another. Number 1, Garden Grace. Garden Grace, Troy Gard restaurant, great chef, but it's his steakhouse concept downtown. And Garden Grace may be the most talked about steakhouse, at least in the Denver food circles that I run in, which is a weird thing to say. I'll tell you what, I have been once and the experience was excellent. Great service, great job of maintaining a steakhouse feeling, steakhouse vibe, but also making it a little updated and new. It's really cool the way they do it. You can try a little bit of this, try a little bit of that. That's what we did. But there was one glaring thing when I went to Garden Grace. For whatever reason, every steak we tried, my wife and I, was insanely salty. Not like a little salty, not like a lot salty, like insanely over the top, almost inedible salty. And it was more than one steak, so it didn't seem like it was just, someone screwed up on this one. And I can't figure out what's going on. Literally, after leaving the dinner, we did a Google search for Garden Grace salty to see if anyone else was complaining about it. And nobody was. Couldn't find anything. Maybe I'm taking crazy pills. Maybe I'm insane. And maybe your experience will be completely different. Just for me, it was one really weird thing. And so I probably won't go back. Second one I want to mention is Quality Italian. Quality Italian, another upscale Italian place in Cherry Creek. Another one that's not local. It is a chain, but it's a very well-regarded chain. And I've had wonderful, wonderful date nights at Quality Italian. The last 2 times I've been, just seemed like it had gone downhill. I don't know what it is. I get it's tough out there. The experience, the food was not as good as I remember. Not a bad place to go, but there's so many good restaurants in town that wouldn't be on my list. And the last one that didn't make it, Matsuhisa. Yes, no booze, second sushi concept. There's one in Vail. There's one in Denver. Matsuhisa, the reason it didn't make the list is because I simply have not been yet. I expect 100% it's amazing, and I can't wait to go, and I'm just trying to find the right time to go. And when I do, I'll let you know. But haven't been, can't speak to it, but it's probably pretty awesome. That's it. And the video I was talking about before of just the best overall restaurants in Denver, at least in my opinion, I will link to that right here so you can take a look at that if you would like. Otherwise, I love you for watching. Reach out anytime. Talk soon.